If you put the work in, just like on the court, if you put the work in and build your relationships and build your networks, the opportunities will arise. Just like with TJ being with the Pacers, Chris Grant, he was working with he was the associate commissioner from with the Pac-12 up until a month or two ago. He's now the deputy commissioner for the Southland Conference. You have guys like Steve Reese, who was the director of Nike's EYBL program, Each One Teach One. Steve played basketball here on the championship team. Chris Grant played football here. TJ worked with the basketball team here. You have Kenny Hampton there in Columbus, who's doing great things around the state. Javar Godfrey down in Tampa. So there's a lot of graduates, former athletes from here at Kentucky State, who are doing some really big things nationally. Who they didn't have to go to Ohio State or Duke or any of those other big schools to make it and make a name for themselves. I could go on and on. Rob Harris, who's a strength coach with UK's basketball team. You have Kamari Wooten, played basketball for me here. He's been at University of Louisville for 10 years. He's the academic advisor for the men's basketball team. So if you put the work in, and HBCU will definitely prepare you to take care of business. But if you put the work in and establish relationships, you can go a long way.
Hello, everyone. This is Tim Brown, author of the book Uncommon Athletes, Filled with Purpose, Fueled by Passion. I'm excited to have with me Coach Jamaal Jackson. He's a graduate of Columbus City Schools, and he's currently the head coach at Kentucky State University. He's had quite a journey there. He's been at Bluefield State College as well as Stillman College, and now he's made his way back to K-State. And from reading his bio, everywhere he's been, he's had winners. He's got a couple pictures behind him. I was asking about those pictures. Those are some guys that have played for him, now playing overseas, doing well. So not only does he prepare young men for sports after college, but also for life after college. Now, that's his big thing. Is really preparing young men to be successful, and him being a husband, father, and all those qualities that go along with that. So, Coach, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you for having me, Tim.
Yeah, I've had both your dad and your brother on here as well, and so now I got a trifecta. Yeah, so I got them all. Let's talk about growing up in a sports family. How was that growing up in a sports family?
My father was a longtime coach. We all, I have two other brothers, and we all, if we weren't on a team somewhere at a school or AU, we were down at East Haven Elementary School at the park playing basketball or playing football. So we grew up playing sports, and with my father being a longtime coach, we were in the gym all the time. So we were always competitive when it came to sports.
Yeah. How was that experience? Now you played for your dad in high school, is that right?
No, I didn't. I was at Independence, so he pushed that ridge. And
now, how was that? How was that when y'all kind of?
They had a tough year at that time. I believe that was 98, 99. But the year after I graduated, we went to Columbus Schools, went to open enrollment. Okay. So because I lived in a independent district, I went to COS, graduated from COS at Independence. And because I lived in that district, I wasn't able to compete for Walnut Ridge.
Wow, how was them Friday nights when y'all played against? Who was mom cheering for?
Oh, me, of course. Yeah, but my young Kareem played at Ridge. He was there with my father, and they had some pretty good teams at that time. Brandon Ivory and Ernie Wheelwright.
Wow, that's funny.
And actually, with Charles Jefferson, who's the head coach there now, my father and brother are coaching with Charles.
Okay, back at Walnut Ridge. That's awesome. When did you find your passion for sports? When did you personally find your passion?
Like I said, growing up, that's pretty much what we loved. We were, coming from having two parents who were educators and active in the community. We did do other things, but we fell in love with sports. Actually, I fell in love with sports, and once I realized I wasn't going to have a career competing, coaching was the next best thing. So even my senior year in high school, I was interned at Ohio State with under Jim O'Brien, and from there on, I figured out that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, the story is you got a chance to play a little bit at Kentucky State. How'd that happen for you?
Right. Actually, I came here. I ran track and cross country.
Okay.
Was really good in those sports, but I knew I wanted to coach, so I approached Winston Bennett, who was hired in the spring of 2000, about being the manager with the program. So he brought me on, and because I knew I wanted to coach, I had that fall I had the worst GPA of my college career because I forgot I was a student and thought I was a coach. So I spent all my time in the gym.
Right.
In the coach's offices, just picking their brain, all day, every day. But I knew I wanted to coach, and I was a manager at that time, so doing all my managerial duties. Then in their offices, picking their brain. On top of that, playing and practicing with the guys a lot. I wasn't on the team, so 2 years down the road, because I can't play. Playing and practicing. He ended up, putting me on the team. So I ended up being on the team here as well.
Wow.
So pretty much held every position in the college basketball program that you could hold.
I had another guy on here, and he talked about a DP. He was a student manager at Kentucky State.
Yeah, he was here when I was an assistant. He was a manager.
Yeah, and he talked about how that K-State experience is a little different with the basketball, with the gym or whatnot, random cats just in there playing.
Oh, yeah. On the HBCU campus, everybody thinks they can play basketball.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. Speaking of that, why did you choose an HBCU school?
And it's not really, I didn't really choose an HBCU school. From the time I can remember, I was told that I'm going to an HBCU. Okay. So it wasn't really a choice, but I'm glad that, I'm definitely glad I came. Both my parents graduated from Defiance College.
Yeah.
And they, like I said, I was going to go to HBCU, and I'm very glad that I ended up coming here to Kentucky State.
Yeah, so it sounds like that coaching was in your blood. You've had a lot of different coaches and experiences. Can you talk a little bit about your journey to getting back to K-State?
All right. So I graduated from here in 2004. I was the assistant coach here for 4 years. Left here in 2008. Went down to Stillman College. They were 1-27 a year before we got there. And our first year we won 8. Second year we won 14. Third year we won 24. Advanced to the South Regional Championship of the NCAA tournament. So that's around the 16. So we had a really good season. So going into the fourth season, had a really good team, some good guys coming back and some good guys returning. That September, I saw that the head coaching job was open at Bluefield State College. It's a school I never heard of, but I knew some people up there and made some calls and applied for the job. So they called me back. And I remember, 2 years prior to that, in the airport in Houston, I'll never forget it because I share the story with my players all the time. A guy named Greg White, he coached at Marshall University, coached at UCLA, was in administration at University of Charleston in West Virginia. But I had about an hour-long conversation with Greg White in the terminal in Houston, leaving the Final Four. So this is probably 2009, 2010. And, I called Greg. I didn't know he had carried as much influence as he does in West Virginia. But I called Greg and talked to him about the job. He said, are you sure you want to go to Bluefield State College? Yeah, it's an opportunity. There are few and many, there are few opportunities that arise like this. So I told him, yeah. So he made he made a call. I went up there. I was in the final 3, and they ended up hiring me. But I think Greg had a lot to do with that. It was an experience. It's a Division II school. At the time I got there, we were in the WVIAC. So schools like West Virginia Wesleyan and Fairmont State's in that conference. So it was a very tough conference. Yeah. And Bluefield State College is a college. HBCU had no dorm. We had no dorms on campus, no cafeteria. Wow. So as guys, I was just getting guys who loved basketball and who wanted to come and compete. So we each year we were there. We increased the win percentage. Our final season, we were there. We won the most games they had won there in 20 years. So, in 2016, the job here came open. Applied applied for that. So that's how I returned here. Got a job here in 2016. Been here since.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to leave that. I don't want young people to miss that relationship. How important those relationships are, and that conversation. What advice did Greg give you when you had that hour-long conversation? What were some of the things he talked to you about?
It was just about, his journey, where he's been. Like I said, he was at UCLA. He was at Marshall, and had worked for the president at Charleston. It was just talking about, like you said, relationships. And, it was really just a conversation, and we just two guys waiting for a plane in the terminal. But, he remembered me, just remember how I carried myself, how I presented myself. And he felt comfortable, putting a call in for me. But that's why to this day, I heard this from Tubby Smith, but anytime he travels, he wears a blazer. So in the airport, but I know, you never know who's watching. You never know who you may meet, and that's one of those instances that changed the trajectory of my career.
Wow, that's powerful. How's it back coaching, being the head coach in that seat?
I love it.
Going from a student manager, walk-on player. How's that coming back?
Yeah, I love it. I have a poster up in my room in my office of our last conference championship team, and this was in 2001. So it was a while back. We're overdue, and that's what we're working towards right now. But to be on this campus where I had probably some of the best years of my life, at least once a week I just go walk across campus.
Yeah.
Just look around and reminisce. But there was nothing like competing here and trying to win a championship for my alma mater.
Right, that's good stuff. Speaking of that, what are some of the advantages? Would you say some of the advantages and benefits of attending and playing at an HBCU school? What are some of those advantages?
As far as attending here, I tell guys I'm recruiting. You have people on this campus, and I speak from experience, who have been in your shoes, know what you're going to see later on in life. And they really care about you, not just as a body in the seat or somebody, helping them to, win some games, but somebody who wants you to be successful. And myself specifically, I can tell I ate in that same cafeteria where you eat now. I sat in those same classrooms. I slept in those same dorm rooms. But we have people here, and I can say, a guy, Isidore Rich, he worked here when I was a student, but he pushed people, he held people accountable, and whether you could help him or not, he wanted every single student who came across who he had the opportunity to make a relationship with to be successful. So there's a lot of people who came through here who wasn't for people like him, staff members and faculty members, who knows where they'd be in life.
What do you tell the guys about playing at HBCU school? Because a lot of people think, well, I got to go to Duke, I got to go to Michigan, I got to go to a Power 5 conference, to be successful or to make that dream come true at the next level.
There's nothing like the atmosphere of playing at an HBCU. From the bands, from the people in the crowds, it's unexplainable. And especially now with technology the way it is, if you can play ball, you'll make it. If you can play, the people who need to see you will see you. So I remember back even when I was assistant here, we had a game down at Morehouse, and Marty Blake, who was a scout for the NBA, he came down to see one of our guys. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you can play, they'll see you.
When you are recruiting, what are some of those intangibles that you look for in players that make them stand out, that reason they become uncommon? What are some of those things?
I like go-getters. I like dogs, so if you can tell on the court who's a competitor and who's not. I like guys who hate to lose, who will go at you and won't back down. We can work on your skills, we can develop your skills, but if you don't have that heart, toughness, and that grit, you'll have a very, very tough time here.
Yeah, I know you have you've been doing a great job of looking at your resume about balancing basketball and other important things in life. know you're part of the Athletes in Action HBC Leadership Council. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that has helped you become a better coach and a better person as well?
Well, Athletes in Action, I started going to they have a retreat for HBCU coaches. So I started going to that summer retreat probably 6-7 years ago. And, year after year, I'll go to that, and they, brought speakers in. We were able to, share a lot of similar experiences that we were all going through, but I became a regular at that. And, I liked what it was doing for me and some of the things I learned from it. And, with me sharing at some of those retreats and even becoming a speaker, I think I was just, they liked some things I did, and I was just asked to be part of their leadership team so we can continue to help other HBCU coaches.
Yeah. I've been involved in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes myself, being on staff. We partner a lot with Athletes in Action, and they do some amazing ministry and the things they do for coaches and for student athletes. I love how they pour into coaches who in turn have the opportunity to pour some of those same things into their players, the influence.
I've had opportunities to make relationships with a lot of different, not just coaches, but a lot of former athletes and guys who are just willing to hold you accountable and just push you and help you get better.
Yeah, that's the key word you said, the accountability. And that's big. And as we talk about that, talk about how important your family is. I know you've been a family man with a beautiful bride and 2 children. How do you balance that? Because you're on the road recruiting. Basketball is a long season. So how do you balance that?
Well, it's 2 things. One, we gotta get it done here because that's how I feed my family. So we gotta take care of business here. But I learned this from one of the coaches I worked for, Michael Grant. I'd be in the office till 6, 7, 8 o'clock, even later than that. Sometimes he would have to, tell me the work is going to be here tomorrow. Just go home, spend time with your family, and come back tomorrow and take care of business. But my daughter was 3; she's 10 at the time, and my wife's mother was, teaching her address and her cities and stuff like that. And they said she asked my daughter, where does mommy live? She said Bluefield. Where does JT, that's my son, where JT lives? She said Bluefield. Where does daddy live? She said in the gym. So, that was a message.
Wow.
That was a message. So with technology, especially what we learned from COVID, it's a lot that can get done at home. So I spend time with them. Both my kids are in sports now, so it's important for me to be at their events. So even my assistant's here till late at night. He has 2 kids also, 2 young children, but it's very important to spend that time with them and get that work done at home, or just come back tomorrow and get it done. So we can recruit from anywhere. We got laptops. We can get that done anywhere. We can watch film anywhere. It's important for us to be here at the gym for our players, so they can get in and work out, things like that. But we definitely need to spend that time with our families.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And a lot of times guys get so caught up that they miss that part, and how important that is. At the end of the day, God's going to hold us really accountable for how we treat our family, our wife and our children. That's the measuring stick, because players come and go. They're 4 or 5 years or whatnot, and they've moved on, but family's always going to be there. It's
right. And I'm right here. I'm 10 minutes from the school, and my coach is 10 minutes from school. If they need us physically, they can always call us, and we can be right here. And that's happened many times, but it's very important. I spend that time with my kids and my family.
So you had to move out the gym, huh?
Yeah.
Move out the gym. That's a great one there. You mentioned how both your parents are educators, longtime educators, and talk about higher education, how important that is to you. And I know I ain't gonna steal the thunder, but talk about all this education that you require and why that's so important to you.
I think, a lot of people without degrees, some of the smartest and most intelligent people in the world, some of the richest people in the world don't have degrees. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say, education is the key to a great job, or it shows how smart you are, but it opens doors that otherwise wouldn't be open for you. I always say, it gives people a degree will give give an employer one less reason to be able to tell you no. So it just opens doors for you. I'm a lifelong learner, so I hate school, but I got a master's degree. I got my bachelor's from here at Kentucky State. I have a master's from West Alabama. In December I'll get a second master's from here, MPA from here at Kentucky State, and I'm about 2.5 years away from my doctorate degree at Morehead State University. So I'm a lifelong learner, but I'm just constantly working to open doors for myself. And if we have opportunities to be able to to improve yourself, you got to take those opportunities.
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, soon they could be calling you Dr. Jackson on the bench.
Right. That's one of the phys ed professors just in here. He said it's going to be Dr. Coach or Coach Doctor. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. We made a commitment to our children that we would help them get their masters. As a family, my wife and our son TJ, actually our oldest boy, he's a graduate of Kentucky State, and he has his master's in accounting from K-State. So he has that master's. Our daughter Carmel, she's a grad assistant at Purdue. She'll have her master's in May. Nathan will be a CPA. So we made that. But the reason I told him this, we're gonna make that commitment for you all to get your master's, but I need the grandkids to get a PhD. Because we got to have a real PhD in the family. We are as people. Everybody doctor this, doctor that. Ain't been to school nowhere. We just call them doctor.
Yeah.
I told the kids we got to have somebody's got a real PhD in this family. But that's the importance of education. And I think the other thing that in all that is that you're being an example for the players on the team. When they see the coach going to class and still working on bettering himself, being a lifetime learner, and just seeing an African-American man, who has 2 masters and will soon have a PhD, that's a powerful statement, for others, it's a powerful example for others, so it takes all the excuses out.
Now I understand it that does mean something. I know they're watching me, and it'd be big for me to graduate with some of those guys at the same time, and then also it's very big for my kids to see me graduate.
Yeah, and it's big for those guys, big for your kids, but it's a blessing for the whole entire Black race. I'll just tell it the way it is. It's just a blessing for us, for our ancestors, to see that their work was not in vain, their sacrifice was not in vain, the things they went through, so that we can have these opportunities, so you can have these opportunities, and then it challenges that next generation as well, that they have to keep this thing going. And so we can keep getting better and better as people. Coach, can you speak to how the value of attending an HBCU school and contacts that are out there in the marketplace for young men when they finish playing, or even get an opportunity to play at that next level?
If you put the work in, just like on the court, if you put the work in and build your relationships and build your networks, the opportunities will arise. Just like with TJ being with the Pacers. Chris Grant, he was working with he was the associate commissioner from with the Pac-12 up until a month or two ago. He's now the deputy commissioner for the Southland Conference. You have guys like Steve Reese, who was the director of Nike's EYBL program, Each One Teach One. Steve played basketball here on the championship team. Chris Grant played football here. TJ worked with the basketball team here. You have Kenny Hampton there in Columbus, who's doing great things around the state. Javar Godfrey down in Tampa. So there's a lot of graduates, former athletes from here at Kentucky State, who are doing some really big things nationally. Who they didn't have to go to Ohio State or Duke or any of those other big schools to make it and make a name for themselves. I could go on and on. Rob Harris, who's the strength coach with UK's basketball team. You have Kamari Wooten, played basketball for me here. He's been at University of Louisville for 10 years. He's the academic advisor for the men's basketball team. So if you put the work in, and HBCU will definitely prepare you to take care of business. But if you put the work in and establish relationships, you can go a long way.
Wow, that's great. One last thing. Would you just speak to parents, about preparing their students for that next level, because I think I see a lot of And then you've been to these tournaments where you see parents are so engrossed in this thing. I mean, they just getting a little. Yeah, let's speak. Can you just give a word to parents?
Man, it's funny because my kids just started playing competitive sports and leagues about 2-3 years ago, and now I'm trying to not be one of those parents.
Right.
So I know it's hard, but you got want to let the coaches do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like what the coach is doing, put your kid on a different team, but or start your own team.
Yeah.
But let the coach do their job. At this level, we're trying to win games. We're trying to win. This is our job. This is our livelihood. So, at this level, we won't have time for kids to come in and not do what they're supposed to do. We're held accountable, and we hold our players accountable. So if they don't come in with that maturity and responsibility, sense of responsibility that they're supposed to. And this is a global game. Mm-hmm. It's a global game. Mm-hmm. It's because of technology. We're getting emails and filmed every day from around the world. On every corner, on every street corner, there's somebody who wants to be in your spot. So you got to take care of business. You got to get in the gym, get better. You got to get in the weight room, get stronger. You got to take care of your classes. You got to carry yourself like you're supposed to in the community, because somebody is always wanting your spot. And at this level, mommy or daddy is not going to be able to save you. Right. I deal with men now. It's not AU. It's not boys. We're dealing with men who have to be responsible. And a lot of most guys on my team are in the form of scholarship, getting a lot of money to perform. Mm-hmm. So parents need to teach the kids a sense of responsibility, sense of accountability right now as they're coming up through middle school, high school, so that they'll be prepared once they get to the college level. Because if you're not taking care of business, it's somebody else who's more than willing to do what they need to do and get that scholarship.
That's powerful. That's a great word for parents as well. A great word for them. When we think about and I asked your brother this, and I want to end on this. What does the Jackson name stand for? Because there's dad, you got the brothers, you got the kid. What does the Jackson name stand for?
It's very important there in Columbus. I was talking about to my brother, or I think about how many, from my father being a long time coach, how many people he's helped, how many young men and young women he's mentored along the way, and not just his athletes, even his students. My mother being a retired social worker, so all the people she was able to help. So I know in that Columbus community, people know who we are. People know who my parents are. So it's big that we were always, carrying ourselves the right way. Because if we didn't, they would hear about it. I had a few slip ups along the way, and I had to, deal with the repercussions of that. But it is very important that we keep the Jackson name, strong and held in high regard. And then, they established a foundation for us so that we can just, keep on building and try to get better for our children and our next generation.
That's great. Well, Coach Jackson, I want to thank you for your time. Always, it's been a great conversation. I'm looking forward to you winning that championship, putting that championship team up there down at Kentucky State. So I want to thank you for your time and go Thoroughbrothers. Look forward to a great season. Be blessed.
Appreciate you having me.